Yeah.
Hey guys, back at you again with another review out of the Toronto International Film Festival from 2023. Today I will be talking about The Contestant, directed by Clair Titley. Of course, this is the documentary that follows the now famous Nasubi as he is catapulted unknowingly to stardom for participating in Denpa Shōnen, A Life in Prizes, and follows him as he is stuck in a room for over a year being forced to win prizes, to fight for his survival, and try to not teeter off the edge of sanity. Look, I mean, I'm sure a lot of you know about this story. I knew a little bit about it. Shout out to Charles White, Moist Critical. I know he was talking about it one time, and I was like, this is like one of the most inhumane, craziest stories I have ever heard in my life, and that was just from watching a short video. So when I saw that this documentary was playing at TIFF, I was like, oh my goodness, it just shot up straight to the top of my list of things that I wanted to see at the festival. So I got a ticket for me and my friend Ryan, of course, that you probably know from the channel, and we went and saw The Contestant. And I just gotta pat myself on the back a little bit. I was picking out some really great movies this whole festival, as you will see from my reviews, as you probably already have seen from my first couple reviews, or my recent two. My goodness, this story is insane. I can't believe that there was a culture that kind of festered this sort of thing to have occurred, and that someone was actually subjected to this amount of mental and physical torture. Because obviously, I mean, it's safe to say this took a effect on his, and took a toll on his mental health. But even physically, being locked in a room, being forced to eat dog food, I mean, I don't want to get too into it, because I really want you to experience it for yourselves. But what he has to do is basically win sweepstake prizes out of magazines and be able to accumulate a certain amount to be able to leave the room. And the cruelest thing about this whole thing is the door was open the whole time. The producer even says this, who was interviewed throughout the entirety of the documentary, and I thought his presence was particularly striking and very insightful, because he's clear-cut and honest with his answers, and maybe to a sense where it comes off as very cold. And obviously, doing this to any person is insanely, insanely cold and insanely cruel. I mean, I don't think you can really ever fully forgive this guy for doing this. I don't even think Nasubi can either. But yet, it happened, and he kind of wanted to see how far his aspirations for a show like this could take him. And obviously, the country of Japan responded, and to an extent, the entire world, because you really see, like, how they capture this man's pain and anguish and cut it up and repackage it in a very sort of humorous way, and then manipulate a whole population into believing that what was happening was actually funny. And I think it's just so sad when you're watching the documentary and you see at certain moments Nasubi react to certain things and everybody's laughing, though you know what's actually happening in his head is complete and utter confusion, anger, and sadness. And I just think that really leaps off the screen. I just feel so bad for Nasubi and everything that he went through. No one ever should be subjected to that amount of psychological torture. But the thing that was so impressive about this documentary to me was how Nasubi came out on the other end of it and turned all this pain and anguish into triumph. Because as crazy as the story is, as devastating as what he went through was, he was still able to come out of it in an amazing, really humble person who is just extremely selfless. I mean, Nasubi is an international hero. If you don't watch this movie and come out of it thinking that this guy is incredible, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what's wrong with you, because this guy's outlook on life is just absolutely beyond poignant and moving and touching. Like, after the screening, Clair Titley, the director, since Nasubi couldn't be there, he sent a little note for her to read, and he was saying something along the lines as long as I have one person in my life that I know who loves me, that's good enough for me. And hearing her read that just really almost brought me to tears. It really did almost reduce me to that state, because I just can't believe that someone who has been through this much doesn't even contain a ounce of bitterness in his entire body or being. And that to me is just beyond moving. And the documentary itself is just, it's a train wreck to watch. And just to see how powerful the medium of television is, and the power of editing, obviously, because they were able to convince an entire population of people that this was funny, and when in fact it was actually very, very horrifying. A few criticisms I did have. I didn't entirely agree with all the filmmaking choices that they made. Like, there were some episodes of Denpa Shōnen, I guess, that were in English or something, or were dubbed or whatever, and Fred Armisen does the voice. And I really don't know why they chose to do that when lots of the movie is subtitled regardless. So I wasn't really sure, like, why wouldn't you just show the Japanese airing and subtitle that? Like, I get it, you had to put in the work to write the subtitles out, but you also had to put in the work to do VO. So I don't really know. That kind of bothered me, and it took me out of the movie sometimes when I was watching it, but still, the story is so strong that you can't help but be transfixed and shocked and devastated throughout the entirety of this documentary. And I'm really glad that they got both sides of the story as well, from both Nasubi and the producer side of things, because it really does paint a full picture that I don't think would have been there otherwise. Obviously, still, like, Nasubi would have come out looking like a hero, but I think this solidifies even more so that he is more than deserving of that moniker. And yeah, guys, I'm going to give The Contestant an 8.5 out of 10. This was really the best documentary, well, maybe the only documentary, if you don't count They Shot the Piano Player, that I saw at TIFF, and I really can't wait for this to be released. I don't believe it has a distributor yet, but be sure to watch out for it in the next year or so. You're going to definitely be hearing a lot about this when it does come out. And yeah, be on the lookout for that. And of course, guys, smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're coming on here for the first time. And if you saw The Contestant, let me know what you think about it down in the comments below. I really think it's one of the standouts documentaries I've seen this year. Whether it comes out this year or not is, you know, to be determined. But really, very glad I saw this movie. And of course, please stay tuned for all the reviews coming out at TIFF on this channel. The next one I'm going to talk about, I am beyond excited about, and I'll save the suspense for what that is, but you'll see what it is soon enough. And yeah, guys, until the next video, I will see you later.